So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, great. Here we are. Okay, so you wanted to talk about stillness. Stillness, of course, has to do with being still, he famously said. It has to do with listening. And you know what we usually, the first thing that we're aware of when we start to listen is all the garbage that goes on in here. One thought after another, after another, after another, after another. So when we listen, we find out that we are not so very still inside. But there are times when we're still, when we're listening intently, then the mind becomes really quiet. And that happens when we are involved with a beautiful piece of music very easily for most of us. So Durga, that's your cue. Hi, Shivananda.
Okay. So we're going to sing to Shiva, who is that, let's say, representation of stillness. He's the yogi who sits in the caves in the Himalayas, very still, and watching the universe go by and helping us all find that center, Shiva. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo. Shivaya Parameswaraya Shashisekaraya Namo. Devaya Parameshwaraya Shashishekaraya Namo Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo Bhavaya Gunashambhavaya Shivatandavaya Namo.
In a way, it's a little silly to talk about stillness, isn't it? To make noise about something that is the absence of noise. Now, since this request came to make the sessions about stillness, my little wheels have been spinning, and the first thing that came out was an insight a few days ago we shared on Facebook, that in the core of stillness lies absolute love. And I don't know, it's sort of like a vision insight. And I don't want to say much about it because it just waters it down. So let's just do it like a meditation. Go inside of you and go with this thought that in the core of stillness lies absolute love. And you may, of course, encounter some of that stillness. And you may also touch on that absolute love. And that stillness and love, they're both always there. They're always there, behind our thoughts, behind our emotions, behind the mind. That stillness and that love is always there. So this is a process of relaxing, of letting go into that which is already here. So relax into that stillness, this soft depth that is always there behind the mind. And you can rely on the presence of your innermost heart, your hridayam, that heart essence in you. You can rely on that. It is there. It holds you. To the mind, stillness may be quite unsettling. But to the heart, it's like elixir, like nectar. And so let the heart hold you in that space of the heart, in that space of love. And in that stillness, perhaps, you can recognize that that love in you is there, and that it's first for you. It's first for you to fill yourself up with that, with the peace of it, the deep safety of it. That is the heart. And in this stillness, perhaps you can find some places in you where you can open further to receiving the stillness, the peace, the love, which in the end are all the same thing. In this relaxing into yourself. And perhaps for one or the other of you, your mantra may come alive. And you just notice that mantra with its even rhythm, like Ram, 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 or whatever your mantra may be. And behind that mantra is always the stillness. So you bathe yourself in that love that you find in the stillness. You fill yourself completely. This is the best gift you can give to the people around you. Your peace, your stillness, your inner fulfillment. The recognition that you have met the beloved and it is you. And everyone else is extra bonus. And you learn how you can hold yourself in this space of peace. And as you go deeper and deeper into the heart, that peace, that stillness intensifies, it thickens. It becomes like a blanket of peace that covers you, every part of you. You are the origin of the love and the peace in your world. You. And there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't come from out there. You are the source and origin of the love and peace in your world. So you are the origin of the love and the peace in the world. A great saint, Saint John of the Cross, said that God understands only one language, And it's the language of silent love. And that God, any God, lives in the core of your heart. Okay, so let's all come back. Let's all come back to here, to this little computer screen in front of you. And now we're going to see if we can, next phase of love, and the next phase of stillness also, which is to maintain a sense of that stillness while we're talking and thinking. And from there we go to acting. So we start with thinking first, right? Or maybe we start with devotion. Devotion is the key ingredient to be able to come to your heart. And if you do that through the image, the relationship with a being or a deity, it is perfect. Everyone's path to that heart, to that love is perfect, and everyone's is different. So think for a moment about something that you really love to do. Something you really love to do. And put yourself in that place where you do it in your mind. You know, so go back to the last time you did that and had a really great time. And then notice what your state of mind was when you really loved something. You love doing something, right? Whether it's doing the dishes or cooking a meal for someone or driving someplace or meeting someone. What was going on in your mind when you really loved something? Isn't your mind pretty still, pretty aligned, not chattering, jumping all over the place? Right. So now notice how your mind is when you do something you absolutely love. For me, this used to be sculpting, right? I used to sculpt. This is many years ago, but I was really into it. And if I would get with a sculpture, it's like I would forget everything else. And I would just be there with this work and the feeling of the shapes and the seeing of them. And I would forget time and space. No, I couldn't forget space because I was dealing with space, but I certainly forgot time. And now when you have a feeling of that wonderful presence that you have automatically without effort when you love something, now take that feeling and ask yourself, what are activities where I don't have that? And can I simply begin to transfer this? It's like if you love to tidy up your kitchen and make your kitchen really wonderful and neat, just as an example, right? But you can't stand to go to school board meetings for your kids or something, you know, or meet someone you have business with that you don't get along with, right? So now picture yourself in that situation, but bring with you this feeling of joyful presence and the mental stillness and stability that you had when you were doing something you loved. This is not going to be easy. I'm not asking you to do something easy here, but it can be done. And you know the sense of stillness and peace and enthusiasm and, you know, beauty that may happen at those good times. So is it necessary that you let another situation rob you of that? Where does that state of mind come from? It comes from inside of you. That state of peace, of stillness, of love. It comes from inside of you. Just put it in your backpack, carry it with you. Let it come to life in the other situation. Relax enough that you can feel that it's already there. Okay, so that's a little something you can try, and I'd love to hear from you, maybe when we do this again, how this worked. If you were able to do it, what any difficulties there were. And you know, I expect difficulties, but try to see what they are. What is making this difficult, or how am I making this difficult for myself? Okay. So you notice I'm going to give you some assignments today. I have another one in my back pocket. So, but another thing that I want to do now is just play, you see, because we're dealing here with stillness, and stillness has no words in it. So everything I say is sort of unnecessary. But we can play with it. We can play with our minds. And there's certain things that we can do with the mind that takes us to stillness, or has that potential to take us to stillness, right? So I'm going to read you something that on the same saint, St. John of the Cross, said whenever he lived in the 1600s or so, I don't know. He was a contemporary of St. Teresa of Avila. So he said this is sort of the Christian view of things. We could go to any religion, any tradition, and find it there. So he said, in the beginning, the Father uttered the word, one word. That word is his Son. And he utters him forever in everlasting silence. Utter, for those of you who may not know, means speak out loud, you know, to produce in words. So in the beginning, the Father uttered one word. He spoke one word. That word is his Son. And he utters him forever in everlasting silence. It is in silence that the heart must hear. So I love this. There's so much in that. And I can look through my yogi eyes and look at that and read that in my way, which may not be the way any Christian church sanctions. I don't know what they do with this. But in the beginning, the Father is the origin of it all. And he uttered one word. What is this word? And the Hindus would say it is Om. And what is Om? Om is, you know, if you imagine a state before creation, there's nothing, there's no vibration, no sound, no nothing, absolute nothingness. And then that sound comes forth. And, the scientists may call it the Big Bang, but the Hindus have that syllable Om, and it's like, Om. And out of that sound, the sound becomes the universe. So that is what Om is what becomes the universe, and it takes us beyond the universe. It takes us back into the absolute. So in the beginning, the Father uttered one word. Out of nothingness came the world, existence, Om. That word is his son. Now this is particular Christian, that this is his son. The Hindus might say that word, Om, is the Shakti, the deity, the goddess. And in Christianity, it's his son. It's that personal relationship that Christians have with the totality of it all, which they call Christ, and which every one of you can have according to your understanding. And he produces this universe, his son or the goddess, forever in everlasting silence. So the whole world of sound and motion and things exists in everlasting, a space of everlasting silence, which is, of course, absolute peace. Absolute peace. The whole world exists in this space of absolute peace. And it's our task as yogis to clear the mind enough that we can be conscious of that stillness, this absolute peace, this all-encompassing love. That's our job. So that word is his son, is the goddess, his creation. And he utters him forever in everlasting silence. It is in silence that the heart must hear. It is in silence that the heart must hear. Because in silence we become awake to our heart, to the great love in us. So I want to just stop my little monologue here and ask anyone who feels like to say anything. I know it's a bit difficult maybe when we're talking about this kind of stuff, but just know that we all want to hear from each other. Take a chance. Durga.
Okay. So it is in silence where the heart must hear, right? That's the quote.
It is in silence that the heart must hear.
The heart must hear.
Right.
Can you expand on that? And just so I've always heard and read that in order for us to hear what is that the heart says, and the guidance that is in there, and the wisdom that we all carry in our hearts to make decisions, to every minute in our lives there is this way to follow or to continue life, either from a space of wisdom in the heart or from a space of rational, which happens in the mind. So the quote is really beautiful because it gives us that idea that we need to be silent in order to hear the heart speak. I'm putting more words to it.
Yeah.
What is that silence? Is the silence the absence of sound, or is the silence the absence of confusion in the mind and overthinking and overprojecting and doubting ourselves? And how can we really hear the heart when we're ready to get that wisdom out of there. That's it.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I think is that we must want that. And you probably wouldn't be on this call if there wasn't something, or still on this call, if there wasn't something in you that was hungry for that love, for that peace. So, and that wanting it, that use of your will can be strengthened. So, that's what you do to deepen your devotion. You realize that your love or your peace is not enough for you. You want more, and you ask for more. You ask for more. Know that if you're asking honestly, you will be listened to. It's inevitable. Inevitable. And then, we realize, maybe some of us, that we have a difficult time feeling worthy of it, because we have some kind of mind thing going on that says, well, you can't ask for too much, or whatever it is that you heard when you were young. I wish I could say it in Spanish. But we all heard these kind of crazy messages. So if there's something in the way of you really deeply giving yourself this gift of receiving some kind of message, some kind of thought, then find that and use the work of Byron Katie on it. See, this is so beautiful. We have all these things. Use if it's true that you don't deserve it, that for some reason, because you've been bad, you can't have it. There's still this mind of the child inside of us that has been told these things, and as a child we go, oh yeah, it's got to be true. I don't deserve it. I'm bad. I'm not good enough. So when these thoughts come up, they're like gold. They're like gold. But gold comes out of the ground, and it has gold and dirt and stones mixed into it and stuff. So it needs to be purified. And that purification of gold happens in fire. So you put that in fire. So when we're talking about your mind, what is that fire? That fire is truth. Ask yourself, is it true what I'm thinking? Clean the mind with the fire of truth, so it can leave you in peace. So you no longer keep believing the same old painful thoughts again and again and again for lifetime after lifetime, maybe even. But that the mind allows you to settle down into the heart, where all the beauty waits for you, all the healing, all the great joy of life waits for us. And we all have it all inside of us. We just allow ourselves to feel it, to experience it to different degrees. So that's our work. But it's always there. And if I look at my own example, it's like we're able to let it in this much. And then we feel that we have something to protect, some sense of separate self. Okay. And then the pain party kicks in, and we do some stupid again pain. And that may just be the way we think about things. Sometimes it's actions, of course. We have a completely unnecessary conflict with someone, or we make up why we're unhappy about something. And it's all just made up in the head. Or why we can't forgive someone. it's silly, crazy stuff that's not true, that doesn't help us. And we keep doing it. So now we have to really look at that. We have to see, oh, I'm doing that. Isn't that amazing? But that's not you. This is the distorted you, the conditioned you, who's doing this out of unconscious habit. So you set yourself free of these things. And increasingly, you can just let yourself settle deeper and deeper and deeper into the heart. Deeper and deeper. Until it becomes increasingly permanent. And then it's like you mostly live in the heart, and then occasionally you have these little excursions into the mind, into the old problems it used to have. And you go like, well, isn't that interesting? Or maybe sometimes it catches us, of course, I had, trust me, sometimes where it caught up with me now during my latest journey into healing. But, it's like, for me, it's this recognition that was revolutionary for me, that we live in a loving universe. A loving universe. And it allowed me to recognize that deeply. Somewhere I began to allow myself to know that this is true after a lifetime of thinking life here on earth was hell. I allowed myself to feel that, and it became more real. And now when I have a conflict thought, something that makes me stressed or unhappy, I immediately suspect it. There's got to be something wrong with my thinking. And so I see it much more quickly. Before, I used to fall into it, and oh my God, then there was like drama for God knows how long, days or weeks or whatever. And it's just like, hey, we don't need this anymore. We can actually love. It's possible. We can do it. And it's completely independent of your environment. Your mind is going to come in, yeah, but I can't be relaxed because of this or that or the other thing. That's just the pain body talking. You can be totally relaxed and clear now. Why? Because you're only not relaxed because of the way that you think about the past and how you project those ideas of the past on the future. Oh, the past was bad, so the future has to be bad. But what is the past? Does it exist? What is the past? It's imagination. It's imagination. You say, yeah, but it happened to me. Yeah, it may have happened. But now you carry it in your mind as imagination. And what is imagination? What is imagination if I tell you, build a castle in the sky with your imagination? What is this castle? What is it made out of? Okay, we're going to have to unmute all. You're all unmuted. What is this castle in the sky made of?
Dreams.
Imagination.
Illusion.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Illusion. Yeah.
No,
What
illusion,
happens?
yes.
What is left over from your dream after you wake up?
Just a memory.
Yeah, until that fades. What's the memory? The memory is just, again, imagination. So imagination is nothing. It's nothing. It doesn't exist in reality. We just make it up and we create it all the time.
Okay. Maybe that these talks could help us to avoid some danger in the future.
Yeah, right. That's how we've been living. This is sort of like the animal life.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Which
those are very stressful and fear, and I know that is an illusion, but I can
Yeah, I
leave
know
it.
it's very hard to get over this. So identify what the belief is. The belief is I have to be careful, something like I have to be careful in order to be safe. Right?
Mhm. I don't know. Maybe be more careful in my acting,
What?
daily acting.
Yeah. So I have to be careful. Before you get, I have to be careful, what is there in your mind?
And sometimes I think my troubles are because I can't make a right decision,
Mm-hmm.
or
So
I like.
what's there even before that? There's a belief that this world is what?
Yes, are my childhood beliefs,
Yeah, what
maybe
are they?
that
This
makes
world
me
is?
illusion.
No,
No, this
that's
world is
like,
illusion.
in this case, that becomes an escape. We have to go to the stressful thought, the old belief that was given to you when you were a child by your experiences. You interpreted these experiences in a stressful way. We're looking for the stressful thought now. You see, it's like this world is not friendly, this world is dangerous, this world is, what is your version of that? What do you believe on that gut level?
I think I can do right things. It's like I'm blind to the reality in this world sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know.
Okay. So what you do is you take the stressful impressions and experiences that you had as a child, or that are in your mind, that are still stressful today,
Mm-hmm.
right? You go to those and you put them, for instance, on a worksheet. Very powerful way of doing it, right? You go to the different situations in your mind that were stressful and put them on a worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
And collect the stressful thoughts that come from that, because that all these thoughts together create a certain worldview, and that worldview, if it's negative, gives you fear.
Yes.
And the fear is very stressful, and then we get embroiled in patterns of acting and thinking that keep making that stress real. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I have a hole in my chest, a black hole, and it's carrying all the troubles with me, and I feel I'm very afraid to take a look in this. And when I make meditation, when I try to be still, I feel I'm calm. I feel better. But then I live in this world with all decisions you need to do all the time, and I think it doesn't work. Meditation doesn't work if you live in the real world.
Well,
And
it may not
it's
work
difficult.
For you. It may not work for you, but it's worked for me. But I did it in connection with a number of other things that we're also doing with heart sourcing. Right? So it's beautiful, though. Yeah, I was talking about the thinking mind, and then when you gave us this thought of the black hole in your chest, right? Then we went to the emotional level. That's like an emotional image, right? So how do we deal with that? We have a way of dealing with that. We call it open attention, right? And you already said it's really hard for you to get close to that black space, that dark space. So I want to give you something that you can try if you like to.
Mm-hmm.
In the center of that black nothingness, in the very center of it, is the core of love. And that core of love can never, never, never be destroyed. It cannot even be touched by darkness. It's like in the dark sky, the darkness of the universe, the sun shines. Can the darkness overpower the sun?
No.
No. So that sun, that source of light and love and warmth and comfort and safety is always there. The question is, are you curious enough and courageous enough to find it there?
Yes, I want to find it, but I think I very bad judge in me. I judge myself very hard all the time. Yeah. So
now, which part of the mind are you at now? Which part of the mind? Thinking mind.
Thinking
exactly.
mind.
Right. So that's why I'm saying, you know, everything has to be addressed with the appropriate skill. Then suddenly meditation starts working, because all these things are meditation. The work is meditation. But it's very specific. You find those thoughts where you judge yourself, you find them, you put them on paper, or you work with a person to free yourself of them. Because they cannot stand up to truth. Now, don't take my word for it, but that's been my experience and the experience of everyone who's done this practice for some time and continues to. These stressful thoughts turn out not to be true. But to know that doesn't give us anything except maybe curiosity to try it. And to put forth the effort to clear the mind. But it takes effort. Yeah. It has been deeply conditioned to be unhappy.
Yes.
But no matter what you do and no matter what happened to you, it doesn't matter. It could be the worst thing in the world. That source of light in you cannot go anywhere. It can never be impure. It is always there. We just don't have access to it sometimes when the mind gets difficult. But it's always there. And if I heard what you said, how difficult it is for you to go into that darkness. But if you have the courage to go there and find it there, very powerful. And I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying that's one possibility. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for sharing. This is very valuable for everyone, trust me. Okay.
Thank you.
So I want to give you one more assignment, one more thing that you can do. That also has to do with stillness, but we're going a little bit further now, because I'm going to talk about guru. Now, the guru sometimes shows up as people, but the real essence of guru, and even when a guru shows up as a person, their job is to guide you there. And that is to guide you to the inner place of the guru, the Sat Guru, which is the heart essence of your true nature. See, any teacher, any good guru actually just has the job to lead you back to yourself. To this source of enormous love in you that we don't know. So let me read you something, and I'm going to read it a few times, and then we'll put it on Facebook so you have it written. You can look at that. And my invitation to you is sort of like we're playing with this. We're playing with this idea of stillness and love and all that. Let's see where that takes us. The invitation is for you to read it a few times and maybe meditate on it or just dwell on it. Think about it and see what you get, see what comes out. So here it goes. The Satguru, the heart essence of our true nature, holds us in his hands of infinite tenderness. Holds us in his hands of infinite tenderness, even as we live in the world of pleasure and pain. The Satguru, the heart essence of our true nature, holds us in his, or I could say her, I just chose to say his here, holds us in his hands of infinite tenderness, even as we live in the world of pleasure and pain. Can you feel this unending embrace beyond the way things appear in the mind? So let me read it a few more times, and I invite you, you don't need to write it down now. Just stay with me and hear this. Let it touch you, if it will. The Satguru, the heart essence of our true nature, holds us in his hands of infinite tenderness, even as we live in the world of pleasure and pain. Can you feel this unending embrace beyond the way things appear in the mind? So obviously this is an invitation to see if you feel this embrace, this space of unending tenderness that is the true presence in you. And you want to read it one more time, and then we'll find it on Facebook. The Satguru, the heart essence of our true nature, holds us in his hands of infinite tenderness, even as we live in the world of pleasure and pain. Can you feel this unending embrace beyond the way things appear in the mind? So you won't find it in the mind. It's deeper than that. And it is permanent. It does not come and go. It's always there. The question is, where are we? Okay. So that's the quote-unquote assignment. It's wonderful to see you all. Durga, you want to go ahead?
I just have a question, or yeah. If some of us here present do not relate to a Sadguru in a physical form, can I have the understanding of what that thing that you read meant if I feel in this stillness that I'm sometimes experiencing, that peace that I feel when I'm still? Yeah. Can I feel that, or can I say that stillness, that absence of movement of the mind, be that tender hands that are always holding me regardless of whether there is chaos in life and there is challenges and difficulties and moments of sadness, whatever it is?
That's exactly what this says. It says, it describes the Satguru as the heart essence of our true nature. So there is no person necessary. If you don't have a person as a guru in your life, perfectly fine. You still have a heart essence of your true nature, don't you? So that's what the guru is in this particular little puzzle, universal puzzle. If you have a physical person in mind, well, fine. But, you know, that physical person has to go for you to find it in you. And then you'll find the person, the physical. So you're not going to lose anything because it's not either or. It's both and. You get to have the external lover, the great teacher, whoever you relate to, and that inner essence. But the inner essence is always the most important because in the end, that's what it all is. So we can just drop that word Sadguru if somebody's disturbed by it, and I understand that. We can just drop that word out of it altogether and say the heart essence of our true nature holds us in its hands of infinite tenderness, even as we live in the world of pleasure and pain. Can you feel this unending embrace beyond the way things appear in the mind? And then, of course, we see that if we have a problem with an image of guru, or we think we're missing something because we don't have a physical guru, and so that's just things in the mind. It's things in the mind. That's all that is. The reality is that we have in us this embrace because it is the nature of our true nature, of the heart essence of who we are. So I don't want to spoil all the fun of further exploration that you can have with this. Have fun with it. And if you want to share if anything comes up for you with this, or any kind of experiences come up, let us. How do we want to close this, Durga? I'll hand that to you. A good feeling about it.
Okay, so let's close with one Om and the mantra for peace. So let's close your eyes. Take a moment to settle into your breath. And let's take a deep breath together. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Okay, I guess that's it for now.
Good night, everyone.
Much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Much love.
Bye.
Love you.
Good night. Bye bye.
Bye.
Love to see you guys. Bye.
Likewise.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.
Nice to see you.
Bye.
Thank you for this.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's our
Thank you
joy.
all.
Okay, now I'm going to press the button.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.